Welcome back, folks. I'm Frizz, and today I'd like to talk about the brand new mystery for Oracles that was released in the Dark Archive, the Time Mystery. If you're looking to play a character that is heavily focused on time manipulation, then this is the way to do it. While you don't get access to all of the brand new time spells that were released in the Dark Archive, due to being an Oracle and a Divine Spellcaster, you are always going to be slightly out of sync with time, moving around at an unsteady rate. Let's get into it. Alright, so let's talk about the basics. First off, you become trained in occultism, since a lot of weird time-related nonsense is occult magic. Secondly, you learn the Time Sense cantrip, which is a new single-action cantrip from Dark Archive that its most basic ability is just it gives you the exact time down to the second. It can also give you a bonus on any roll, considering that exact timing is useful for that roll. Finally, the time mystery itself is related to the fate and time domains, which I'm sure is shocking, but is very good because those are two very useful domains. The most interesting part about this entire basic section of the mystery is the mystery benefit, though. Due to how time works swifter around you than it should, you can cover more distance whenever you're moving than people think that you should. You get a plus 10 foot status bonus to your speed, and this increases by 5 feet at levels 6, 10, 15, and 18, which means at level 18 you're getting a constant plus 30 foot status bonus to your speeds. On top of that, you get a plus 1 status bonus to AC against any reaction or free action that would trigger from you moving. With this mystery benefit, you are going to be as fast as a monk, which is pretty nuts for a spellcaster. Plus, the bonus to your AC is going to make running around in combat a lot more attractive, because really, if you're going to run around as a spellcaster, you generally don't want to provoke some attack of opportunity. And while that's still true for the Time Oracle, they're still better defended against attacks of opportunity. This alone is one reason why getting quickened is amazing for this mystery, but we'll talk about that a bit later. For now, let's talk about the revelation spells that you get access to, which each, of course, cost a single focus point to cast. Alright, so first off, all Time Oracles have access to Temporal Distortion. For a single action, you gift your Temporal Distortions to a foe, warping their body and mind because they're not used to perceiving time the way that you do. Upon casting, you roll a d4 to see what you do to the poor soul. Also, depending on their will save, they get debuffed, and the condition that you apply depends on the result of the d4. If you rolled a 1 on it, then they become clumsy. If you roll a 2, they are enfeebled, and if you roll a 3, they're stupefied. If you end up rolling a 4, you choose which one of those 3 options is applied to them. This means that you have a 50% chance of applying the condition that you want, because let's say you want to apply stupefied. If you roll a 3, you make them stupefied. If you roll a 4, you choose to make them stupefied. Honestly, a 50% success rate is very good, because, hey, if you apply clumsy, that's fine, you're still reducing one of their saving throws, and as a spellcaster, you can certainly make use of that. Enfeebled is a little bit of a weaker option, but it's still not terrible. Now, the value and duration of these conditions depends on their will save. If they succeed, then nothing happens. If they fail, though, the value of the condition is 1, and they are afflicted for 4 rounds, which is a pretty okay duration. If they critically fail, though, the value of this condition increases to 3, but the duration is halved down to 2 rounds. This is an amazing way to apply conditions, since, while enfeebled is the only one that isn't generally useful, the other ones can be really bad to apply. Moving on, Time Skip is an amazing advanced revelation spell. For a single action, you choose a willing person within 30 feet of you. For their next turn, they are quickened, and they can only use the additional action to step, stride, or strike. For every level that this focus spell is heightened, you get to target another willing person other than yourself to target. Spending a focus spell for a baby version of haste is incredibly useful and can make a huge difference in fights. Giving people the ability to reposition easier, get more attacks, or just get the hell out of dodge can't be understated. Manifold Lives is my favorite Time Oracle focus spell, and it has legitimately incredible flavor. You choose someone within 30 feet of you, and then they make a will save. you throw their mind back through time and force them to take other paths that they could have taken throughout their lives. They have to relive lives that they chose not to live and discover things that could have been but never will be. They end up taking 66 mental damage in the process, but that is of course affected by the will save. If they critically succeed, then they don't take any damage at all and are completely unaffected. If they succeed, then they take half of the 66 mental damage and are stupefied for a round. If they fail, this is where things get crazy, is they take full damage and they're stupefied too for a full minute, and every single turn in that minute, they have to make another will save or be slowed for that turn as they're sobbing uncontrollably due to them mourning the lives that will never be. If you think that's bad, critically failing is even worse. If they critically fail, they take double damage and are stupefied 4 and slowed 1 for a minute while sobbing. This is an insanely powerful debuff focus spell, as stupefied is an amazing condition to apply to literally everyone, and slowed is an even better condition, and you bundle them together for a focus point. Seriously, this is amazing. Also, every single level that it gets heightened, you increase the mental damage by 1d6, but you're not using this focus spell for the damage. Now that we've talked about what you get for taking this mystery, let's talk about what you pay for it with, that being the curse. Now, as with all Oracle curses, you do get some benefits from your curse, but it's still pretty rough, just like all Oracle curses. You are afflicted by the Curse of Turbulent Moments, meaning that the more you use your focus spells, the more your own personal time flow gets messed up. At your minor curse stage, you become enfeebled 1 and you take a -2 penalty against saving throws towards effects that would make you fatigued or slowed. Both of these conditions are really rough to get afflicted by, so those penalties to your saving throws are pretty rough. So hopefully your enemies don't do reconnaissance and learn that you're actually weak to those types of spells. At your moderate curse, things start getting very weird. First off, you become enfeebled 2, and the penalty to saving throws versus fatigue and slowed increases to -3. On top of that, spells that affect you have their durations halved to a minimum of a 1-round duration. Now, this might seem like a bad thing, as this affects your own spells and your allies' spells that affect you, but so long as you aren't buffing yourself, this is basically a net positive, as it reduces everything that affects you, whether that be poisons, diseases, curses, or any kind of alchemical item. Also, your status bonus to AC towards reactions from your mystery benefit increases to a +2. This is actually an amazing defensive ability that helps you resist pretty much everything. You can make 2 saves a day versus diseases, considering that your disease progresses twice as fast as normal. So long as you have adequate medical care, they're going to be great. Also, since you can't reduce anything to a duration below half a round, you still only make 1 save a turn versus poisons, despite how you're still reducing their maximum duration by half, so most poisons are only going to last 3 turns compared to the normal 6. Seriously, this ability can be incredibly powerful if you're using it in the right situations. Also, don't cast that many time-sensitive buff spells on yourself. If you do, make sure you're doing it with perfect timing. Finally, your major curse is absolutely debilitating. As with most mysteries, you become slowed 1, enfeebled 4, and you take a -4 penalty on checks against becoming fatigued or slowed. On the other hand, while you're incredibly slow at times, whenever you actually do something, you move insanely quickly. You get a +4 status bonus to initiative, and whenever you move, you're concealed for that movement and until the beginning of your next turn. Also, the status bonus to your AC against reactions increases to a +4. This is really rough, but there are a lot of ways to get around it. Mainly, if you become quickened, you lose that quickened action rather than one of your own actual actions. That way, you can move and cast spells in the same turn, and that's why Haste is an amazing spell to either get someone to cast on you, or for you to cast on yourself, despite how it's not on the Divine list. Honestly, I kinda love this mystery. It is fully willing to be deadly, and it gives you enough goodies to make that deadliness worth it. Messing around with time is a big deal, and this mystery makes that stand out loud and clear. Overall, you can just toss some insanely crippling debuffs on someone and make sure that anyone you're fighting is stupefied to hell and back. Also, if you're wanting the ability to cast haste, then you can always worship Shaika, who is a Fey deity of time travel, and if you take the Divine Access feat, then you can learn haste as a 3rd level spell. All around, this is an incredibly interesting character option, which is about what I'd say for every single part of the Dark Archive, actually. Thanks for watching. There is so much to talk about in the Dark Archive, it's actually kind of hard to pick and choose what to talk about. Weird time shenanigans are always fun though, so I thought that this would be fun to talk about. There are going to be some more Dark Archive videos on the way, so hold on for that. Also, what kind of oracles do you think that you would want to play that would have the time mystery? Regardless of that though, until I see you next, live a wonderful life.